hurt you financially, whatever they'll try to do. So they, once they hook you with their phone, then that's, becomes a whole nother issue. What's going to be the next setup? So you, again, if you remain focused enough, you can actually stop that negative energy, or stop that hook or that attachment, whatever it is that they're trying to force onto you, with your own, in spirit. You have the power and the capability to push away whatever it is that they are. I'm starting to feel pressure right in my nasal area. I can feel them. They're trying right now. They're using every word that I've been saying practically to try to push their agenda of trying to make me what they call fragmented. And of course they want me to tell you this. Mostly for the purpose of trying to create fear. It's not about trying to create fear. For me, it's about educating you and letting you know this is what's been going on and how to stop it and how to be effective at stopping it and continuing to thrive despite their attempts. They are my earlobe. They usually put like a microphone, like they have like a little implant that's right on this side of my cheek that they've kind of hooked into my jawbone. It's used to drag me back if they feel like I'm getting any closer to an escape. They have like a little microphone that's right near to my earlobe, and it's kind of back in my, back behind my jaw, near the back of my near the base of my neck. And there's the halo, it starts somewhere in my shoulder, and it comes down. It's kind of weird how it comes down, like it's supposed to follow your meridian. Well, the halo itself doesn't, but the spell, quote unquote, I guess, is what does it. But it's like right here. So if you ever see anyone kind of waving away off the side of their head, either they're trying to, get the microphone away, because you can, again, or, and they'll do what's called a construct, and it's a weird kind of construct, halo thingamajig, and they'll push it up in your jawline. I'm not kidding, it actually goes up through your jaw and through right in the middle of your face and the back of your head. It's crazy, and I've been dealing with this for years now. It's scary. At first it was very scary. Now, I mean, it's still scary to a point, but it's not nearly as scary as it was anymore, because I know what they're doing. But you can feel, and they'll even put implants down in near your adrenal glands and near your vocal cords to not just, I just felt it pop right here, it's right along this area right here is where I felt it, to hear what you're saying, to monitor what you're saying, so that they can hear everything, all your personal information, what you're saying to yourself. They've probably, they'll take your credit card information this way. They'll take they've hacked into my credit card, my bank account. They have my credit card information. I know that they've probably taken countless people's credit card information, because I used to work for a financial company through First Data, and I did that for 2 years and 2 months, and didn't find out until after the fact that they had been there harassing me the entire time. And my handler was one of the individuals. I later found out that he was one of the individuals that was behind the whole Target credit card. They're pissed because I'm talking about this online. They don't want it to be talked about, but it'll be talked about. And anyway, so that whole Target hacking, where lots of credit card information was stolen, He was part of that. He was a part of that whole gang that did that. And I mean, I'm sure there's been countless other scenarios and issues where he's probably been a part of that as well. That's how they get their money, is they, either by hacking or stealing your credit card information, literally stealing money out of your bank accounts. You've seen, heard of wire fraud or bank fraud. They'll take, it's like, the ways that they try to do it is just unbelievable. But that's just one of the things that they've done. They will, if you're a target, they'll try to stop you from getting additional money. In my case, or they'll try to take additional money from you to keep you from having any way to escape, even though you always can. There's always help, and there's always ways for you to get the money that you need to get out of the situation. Anyway. Yes, I've named some big names there, and I know that I can't wait until they go down, because I've had enough of them. I'm appalled at all the things that I've learned about what's been going on behind the scenes and how many people have been hurt behind this kind of, with this kind of stuff going on, and it's going to stop. Anyway, the point of the matter is that, so that's what's been going on. So it's almost every single day they will try to set up some interaction with me and someone that in some way, shape, or form has, either that might be, like I had an interview ages ago where an employer took my sample of urine, had an interview with me. Everything was going fine, but I hardly heard back from them. They were supposed to send back pieces of information that were mine. They never sent them back, which is unusual for an employer to do that. I've been through countless job interviews and urine tests, which is normal to a point, but I've never had so many urine tests in my life. Normally in the past it was they didn't do a urine test until you actually were selected for the job. And within the past couple months, it's been like right off the bat. Like when you come in for the interview, you get your urine test, take any other testing, and then go from there. And I've now since realized that what they're really doing is they're using that urine for a multitude of things, either to experiment with or to use for individuals that are on drugs that can't seem to get, decent jobs. And these are probably people that are in politics. They've used it, for my DNA to use for electromagnetic, or what they call EMF targeting, or DEW, which is direct energy weapon targeting. Police officers have these DEWs, people that are MI5, military, possibly even some, political officials. They keep threatening my life because I'm talking about this. They don't want you to know it, but it's the truth. And they use it to monitor you, to try to control you, to try to control what you're doing, how you're spending your money, who you're talking to, what associations you have, so on and so forth. It's like I could go on for days about this stuff and what I've read, what I've personally experienced, what I've seen. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the point of the matter is that so after that happened, after the interaction which wasn't really even an interaction, it was just me walking by, but it was this gentleman trying to be sly about trying to control me. Oh, they also use this for sex trafficking, by the way. That's been threatened on me as well, to try to sex traffic me over to Europe. I know that they've done it with other people that I know. And I've tried to remain, an advocate for it, and I've turned all these names into the FBI and, to the appropriate authorities, but obviously they want to fight. So, I guess they really want, someone to stick up and say, hey, enough's enough. I don't know what they're expecting to get from all of this, but, we all know where it's going for all of them. Anyway, the point of the matter is that, I went over to a different area nearby where the bay was at Morehead City. And I sat down. I was kind of walking around again, just trying to enjoy my night, even after that interaction that I had, just trying to enjoy my night. And because you have to find a way to just stay positive and just enjoy life regardless of what they're doing. You have to continue to keep going, because if you get so caught up in what they're trying to do to you, then it gets stupid. And I've been there a couple of times, and I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let you assholes have any part of my life or control me at all. You don't deserve anything from me whatsoever. Anyway, so I went and I sat down in a swing, and was just kind of, just sitting on the swing. And there were a couple people nearby over on the, that were sitting on the boardwalk. And I wasn't really paying attention to them. I was more interested in paying attention to the pictures on my phone and what I was doing, because I had been spending the night doing photography. I love photography. And I just, it's a great pastime that I enjoy. Anyway, so feel it all through my jawline. You can actually feel your ears pop, and you can tell. Sometimes you can even hear like an echo, like a reverberation, where you know that you're being listened to, or however many people have decided to plug in to you using their phones and the programming and the EMF. They can hear your conversations, and you'll feel it sometimes. Sometimes you can even hear these jerks talking. I've had other people, they can see the tech, or they can hear what's going on. And it's like, don't you people realize that your butts are going to get caught? Anyway, I was sitting in this swing, wasn't really paying attention to a whole lot. I was just trying to calm down and relax. And, when I finally came back to center and realized what was going on, I noticed that there were three individuals, that were two gentlemen and a female, that were sitting across from me. And I immediately picked up that one of them was CIA. And heard him telepathically say to me that he was, which was kind of disturbing. But then all of a sudden I started getting these thoughts and these feelings that this gentleman, the whole purpose of me sitting there in front of him was that because he was CIA, and I could start to feel all these things, like he was involved in some sort of dark web, pedophilia, whatever, just something very, very sick. And it's been purported, people have tried to rumor that I'm some sort of prostitute. I'm going to tell you right now, and again, for the record, I'm not a prostitute. But they see me as some sort of, I guess, a spiritual prostitute, because they get into what's called spiritual rape. And they use these rituals. And not only the rituals, but they use, if you think of Freemasonry, I guess that's like the best way to explain it. If you can think of a bunch of white men going into a room, wearing a bunch of robes, and, going through some crazy ritual, and then they get around and they do this, just think of something from some porno, how else do you want me to say it? Pardon me, I'm going to be blunt. I'm just going to be honest, because I've decided I'm just going to be honest about everything that I've been seeing and everything that's been going on. There's no point in trying to hide it or try to sugarcoat it anymore. It's just, that's what it is. Anyway, they've done this to me almost every day since I can remember, since I was in my 20s, probably even earlier than that. Obviously, for the past couple of years, it's been worse. Earlier today, they did it again. I woke up and noticed that things were kind of off. And you know, you can say that it's electronic rape. I'm sure that probably some of it is, but I'm also aware that some of it is like actually them astral projecting to rape. And it's not just me. I'm not the only one. There's been so many other people that have, you know, talked about it. And part of it is there's this whole thing where, I mean, that's a whole nother story. I guess I'm going to have to go into that for another day, but there's, you know, there's a lot of reasons behind it. Part of it is so that they can have access to your pineal gland, or your third eye, your mind's eye, so that they can see what's going on and what's coming up ahead. They put all this stuff like right in the back behind my neck, and it's like, it's hard to explain. It's like, it looks like little, it's not like little squares, but it's like a it's hard to explain. I can see it spiritually, but feeling it is a whole nother thing. And I can feel like all these little cracks whenever I do that anyway. And it's not natural. You can tell it's tech. Anyway, so I started picking up on all this energy from this guy, and I wish I had like taken a picture. Wish I had somehow done some research on him to find his name, but I didn't. Because I was so grossed out by what I was feeling, I had to walk away. But I could tell that he was just another one of them, and he was waiting for my presence. I guess when you're in certain areas and you don't, and now that I'm more aware of it, you know, then it's easier for me to say, okay, I need to stay away from this particular area or this particular person, because I know what they're really doing, you know. But when you're set up to meet certain people in different areas, you can feel their energy, and what they're trying to do to you spiritually is try to make some kind of connection. And they keep talking about marriage, like a spiritual marriage, and what they're doing is they're trying to marry you off, or connect you to either a group of people or a person or whatever that they want you to be set up with. They talked about it a lot when I was at my last employer. Like people, now you're married is what I caught my trainer saying one day, and I was a little shocked because I had never actually heard anyone say it that way, but in whether or not she meant it in that context or not, it still kind of threw me off, because it was, you know, one of those things where it was like, I'm not married to you. I'm not married to this employer. I'm not married to anybody. I'm single, and I have been that way all my life. I've never been married, but they do these things that are called spiritual marriages for the purpose of a ritual, or keeping you bound to a certain employer or a certain group of people, and so on and so forth. And then they expect you to act and behave a certain way, or to mold into whatever the culture is there with that particular person. And that's again what they call hive minds, that they want you to be acting and behaving and talking the same way as those individuals that they've tried to marry you to. No offense to the people that worked at that place, but a lot of the culture was very, oh gosh, it was very ghetto. I'm not trying to be unkind in any way, but it's the truth. And here's me. I'm very, I'm pretty simple. And I don't get me wrong, I love all people. I've lived in and amongst so many different cultures. It's not even funny. I myself am a mix and a mutt of cultures. It's ridiculous. So I don't have any room to judge, but it was just a little overwhelming for me. And it was a lot of it was behaviors and mentalities that I just could not get along with. I mean, and it's even like this particular area. In the past, I've not had any problem just accepting and realizing that, I just don't fit in. And it's been that way for the majority of my life, almost everywhere that I've gone, that I've felt that I didn't fit in some way, shape, or form. And I've never really understood why until now. That it's not has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with anything else, because it's just my personal mindset and the choices and behaviors that I make, appearances aside. I have chosen a certain way of being that most cultures don't. Most cultures don't jive with for some strange reason. Which, the more I think about it now, it's just really dawned on me how that's not my fault. It's just the way that our society has been taught, the way that people have been taught. And I don't know if maybe somewhere along the way I was just taught differently. But for lack of, better phrasing, and this is something that I'll have to, educate myself further on, is, maybe it just comes down to the simple fact that I'm just a free will person. People have indirectly said that I'm one of the few people that has what's called a real soul. I'm not entirely certain what that means. I'm still, obviously I'm still learning a lot of this jargon and a lot of what's gone on in the past, and even what's been going on, for ages. But for me, it's just, trying to really understand why in the heck, it's not that I'm a difficult person, and not that I can't get along with anyone, because I can. And I have been able to my entire life. It's just sometimes some cultures, some places are just overwhelming for me. They're overstimulating. Too much stuff is going on. Some people can deal with that, and that's perfectly fine, but I can't. The hive mind mindsets that come out of it, which is a lot of negativity. Unfortunately, I just can't do it anymore. I used to be, I think it's fair to say that when I was younger, I was probably more hive mind, because I wasn't as awake as I am now. And it was easier for me to just do and say things on a whim and be kind of ghetto myself at some point in time in my life, especially when I was a teenager. I didn't have any problem. I was still positive, but not nearly as positive as I am now. And so I think that that's been part of it. That I've gotten to a point where I have such a positive mindset and a certain level of expectation and standard that I've set for myself now, that being in a place where there's a lot of lower energy or lower vibration is very, very, very difficult now for me to deal with. It has nothing to do with the people per se. It's just that the energy itself is just sometimes it's just too much. And I'm in that place. I'm in a home that I was forced into, an apartment that I was forced into, which happened to be a former meth house. And I not only that, but then my neighbors are, I can tell that their mindsets are not the best. I'm trying to do my work here as far as that's concerned. Obviously, it's going to be entirely dependent on the person. I appreciate some of the strides that, they've made, but it's still very, very difficult. Like, my next door neighbor likes really loud rap, and I'm okay with rap. I like rap, but when it's shaking your living room, it's hard for me to deal with that, obviously, because I've gotten to a point where I need peace in my life. I need peace when I'm in my own home, so that I can function and not, get angry at other people, or not, say things that I don't want to say. Like, I'm certain I've said a lot of things in this video that I probably don't even want to say in public, but I need to say them anyway. And you know, again, the job, especially the past 2 jobs that I've held here since I've been in North Carolina, both of which were lower vibrational. It was a lot of lower vibration energy, and I guess, you know, on some level, it's been mixed emotions about these experiences, because mostly on the edge of, you know, I don't care for either employer right now for a lot of what they've been doing, and for the fact that they're harboring people knowingly, or that they are knowingly, you know, being destructive and using, you know, manipulation tactics and the EMF and the DEW, and trying to keep people down. And there's been people in both that I've met, and I don't care for that. Excuse me. Obviously, I'm a huge advocate for free will, free thinking, free behavior. You know, not feeling like you're going to be controlled by a bunch of other people, because you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be it's just not how God intended for us to be. God intended us for it to be sovereign and free. And so when I run into other people that are more interested in how can they control you, or how can they get something out of you, I mean, naturally I'm going to get pissed off because it pisses me off, but at the same time I want to walk away. At the other hand, I want to slap them because I'm getting really tired of it. I'm getting really sick and tired of people walking around thinking that it's okay to just take from other people without any recourse or any remorse, or thinking that there's going to be any kind of a consequence for what they've done. There's always a consequence, always. Doesn't matter how it comes about, but there's always a consequence, especially for the people that have no problem stealing from you, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's the point. And I have a huge problem with it these days, and there's been a lot of that here. It's not helping that, and I'm gonna just, you know, forewarn all of you, and let you know before I go into this. I am from a huge military family. Almost every single person in my family is military, has served in the military in almost every branch except for the Army. Just about. I mean, there's probably a military member in my ancestry somewhere that served in the Army, but if there is, I'm not entirely aware of it. But anyway, so naturally I've always been a supporter of the military. Never had a problem with them at all. Of course, at the same time, I didn't realize how far back a lot of this stuff went, how long it's been going on, and to the depths of what exactly they've been doing. And the more that I learn every day, the more that I appalled that I am, the more mad that I am, and especially mad that it's been my own family members that have been involved in doing, you know, some crazy crap. You know, everything from identity theft, financial, you know, theft in some way, shape, or form, just oppression, flat out oppression, rumors getting started that are all of which have not been true at all. You know, for example, I mean, going back to the issue of the prostitution thing, I'm not a prostitute, never have been. Spiritually speaking, they've tried to label me as such. Even that's not true. They've tried and have taken advantage of me without me knowing for a very, very long time. Obviously, I know now what's been going on. So every time those things happen, I'm fully aware of it. And, you know, constantly fighting back, saying I don't want them to touch me that way at all, spiritually or otherwise. Anyway, the point of the matter is that yes, I'm pissed at my family. I'm also very, very pissed at the military. I'm appalled at the military right now because of all the people. And I've respected the military for a very, 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 very long time. But of all the people that should be behaving better, were trained and disciplined to behave better, I would expect that most of the military. And it's, yes, I'm aware that they have been participating in experiments and not just experiments, but things that are downright inhumane, from creating internment camps to, harming innocent people, even abroad, for the sole purpose of monetary gain and oil. And yes, I understand that those orders come down from a whole different level. But these Agenda 21s and Helm projects, or whatever the heck is going on, that's all got to stop. If you're part of the military and you're participating in that, you have got to stop. You have got to put your foot down and say no. You've got to say that you're not gonna participate in those kinds of projects, in anything that is any way criminal. Hurting innocent people for the sole purpose of trying to control them is criminal. We have unalienable rights as indicated by our Constitution, as indicated by the Geneva Constitution, as indicated by treaties and constitutions galore. And human rights abuse, rights that we have the right to be free and be unencumbered by abuse or rape or harm to ourselves in any way by another person, and especially to not be harmed by military members. And I don't care what level of military you are, you do not have any right to harm another human being, period, end of subject. I personally have the right, not just as a human being, but as a citizen of the United States, to say I'm tired of all this bullshit. And the military, the government, anybody else, any other organization, the FBI, the CIA, whoever else, that's participating in these crimes, that I no longer want to serve my country. And your asses will go to jail, period, end of subject. I'm tired of it. I have never been so livid, so appalled in all my life. And I am prepared, in some way, shape, or form, to find a way, a positive way, to take your asses to court and to make sure that each and every one of you ends up in jail or receives the appropriate sentence for what you've done. Because I'm a humanitarian, and I'll tell you right now that I don't own a gun, I never will, but I sure as well will have your asses stopped from what you've been doing. I'm tired of it. I've had enough. Our people can't take this anymore. I am sick and tired of living in an area. Don't get me wrong, I'm certain that Camp Lejeune has a lot of great things about it.